So we were thinking like, okay, or I was thinking because she was actually applying to veterinary school.
Right.
So she's trying to get in, which is a 4-year doctorate degree. So like, okay, if I don't have an income from her for 4 years, how can I afford things? So eventually that led me to be looking at, buying condos in Beaverton. I was like, I don't want a roommate. Like, okay, how do I not have a roommate? Eventually that got me down the road of buying a duplex. So I bought a duplex in Staten, Oregon, down by Salem, actually.
Oh, so instead of buying a house to live in, you bought a rental?
It was a duplex that I lived in.
Oh, you lived in, you just made the commute.
All the way to Beaverton?
Well, no, it was Aurora, so just south of Wilsonville.
Oh,
is where I worked.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was still like an hour.
Bad, yeah.
It was like an hour drive because it was like 15 minutes east of Salem.
Right.
So I was a commute, but she worked in Wilsonville too, so like we both just commuted every day. But it was like before she got into vet school. So it was a journey, not ideal.
What was the price of duplexes then there?
Oh man, I wish I could buy 1,000 of them right now.
Yeah.
208,000.
280,000?
208.
208,000.
I was really upset about that price.
I know.
Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. I'm Stephen Tran.
And I'm your co-host, Jordan Lee, and we're super excited to have Seth Loveland here on the podcast today. Hey, Seth, you want to just give us your background? Like, are you from Portland? How did you get here? Kind of what you're doing now.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I'm actually not from Portland originally. I grew up in Oregon, so I was born in Medford.
Oh, okay.
I went to high school there. My family still all lives there. So that's, I guess, kind of a pseudo home. I don't feel like home anymore. So
Dude, Medford is so much different now than it used to be.
Oh my gosh, it's a huge city, man.
Do you know do you remember like the value of homes there when you were growing up compared to now?
Well, I guess to start my story a little bit is like I bought my first house when I was 20 years old. It's like 20 years ago at this point. I bought it for $155,000.
In Medford?
In Medford.
Oh, okay. And this was a single family?
Single family, like 2-bedroom, 1 bath. 750 square foot, 700 square foot. It was like a little tiny farmhouse.
Built in the early 1900s type situation?
Early.
Actually,
it might have been 18 something.
Yeah, wow.
Like, there was a weird, because there was the very beginning of the plot when you walk in the house. It was like there was no concrete foundation, but everything else in addition was different levels of concrete.
Oh.
So you tell like, they added on the bedrooms here at this point. Sometimes they added on the dining room. The bathroom was added on in the kitchen at some point. So like they were all different, and it was a weird, wacky house.
Was there a reason to buy the house, or you just wanted a house you just told
I
to?
just loved real estate, and I knew that was the way to financial freedom. And
starting at 20, that's crazy. And just do you have a rough sense of like what that home is worth today?
It's been renovated, and like they punched it out a lot, and it's like a really nice 3-bedroom, 2 or 3 bath at this point. Probably 450, 500 at least.
So values there, are...
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember what the population of Medford was growing up compared to now? Just
I don't know the population. I'm on probably 60,000.
How many high schools were there?
There's 2 high schools in downtown. I actually went to the one is Phoenix, Oregon.
Okay.
So it's like right outside, like 10 minutes from downtown kind of thing.
Is Medford where they have the In-N-Out?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
One of them. Yeah. They started in California, then they started slowly going north.
Right?
So,
in Oregon, yeah.
That's where I stop every time.
Then they got Roseburg, and they've gone up to Salem and everywhere else at this point. But yeah.
Okay.
That was a big deal when they first came in.
So you grew up in Medford on land, or?
No. No, man. I grew up. My parents divorced when I was young.
Okay.
So mostly single family household. It's my mom raised me, my brother. I lived in an apartment for like a little while.
Okay.
And then manufactured home after that.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, it was a brand new manufactured home that she did purchase for us, in a park.
Oh, okay, but she bought a home when you got to see that process a little bit.
A little bit. I was young. I was like 10,
young.
10, 11 years old, so I didn't understand what was going on or how that even worked, at that point. And she didn't, we never talked finances like as a family. Like that was not a thing that was discussed ever.
Was there a book or something that sparked that made you think that real estate was the key to financial freedom?
Especially at 20, like that's pretty young,
Yeah.
You still had to qualify for a loan and everything.
It was a little easier in those days, than today. So yeah, that was pre-2008 crash.
Okay.
So it was like 2006-ish.
Oh, it was right in the hate, like when you could
Yeah,
get
like
anything.
I mean, I was a server at that point, like waiter at a restaurant. I'd been a cook previously before that.
Oh yeah.
So it was like no doc loans in those days. Like,
Right.
oh, how much do you
Okay.
make? And
Okay.
my which was a friend of mine, like my mortgage broker. She's like, oh, okay, so like you wrote a number down, and I'm like,
Put it in the ledger, right?
yeah. I mean, I don't know how that doesn't work today, but it was because I mean, like being a server, like most of my tips, especially in those days, like it was more cash than anything. So like the credit cards were minuscule.
Oh, that
I'd say
was,
20%.
that was back before Oregon changed their law, right?
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
still get paid like $2 an hour or something.
No, it was minimum wage. I mean,
Oh,
it
it
was
was
like
still minimum.
$7.25
Okay.
ish, $7.50. I think maybe when I stopped because I did that for about 3 years. So yeah, I was in those days. I mean, it was still minimum wage, like officially for Oregon.
Right.
But the tips, like the calculations at the end of the night when you like left, said, "Oh, how much did you make?" You're like punching a number, like,
Sure.
which was probably 40 to 50% of what you actually made.
Right, totally.
Like, so you bring home, it's like you're making $30,000 a year, but you're claiming like $20,000 a year, so
Exactly.
like getting taxed on $20,000. So it was like a better deal in that case.
Nice.
Always a challenge for us. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, especially those kind of industries. Easier in those days. So yeah, it's got like it's an 80-20 loan, so 80% of one loan, then a higher interest rate of 20%, so 0% down.
Put $0 down.
I don't remember what interest rate was back in those days. I mean, that was a long time ago. And I bought it with like an ex-girlfriend, like my first, real girlfriend at the time. So we purchased that together. She was also a server at the time, so like
Nice.
there's a whole lot of no documentation. So, yeah.
And then what was next after that?
Oh, I know Steven asked me the book that kind of triggered
Oh, yeah.
me, I guess. Sorry, I'll go back to that. I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, a million other people. I'm not original in that. I mean, listen to Bigger Pockets. I mean, I guess that was before.
I mean,
when
I
was
think
20,
almost
but,
everyone from our generation kind of that got into real
Yeah.
estate read that book, right?
Yeah.
Or had some inkling of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have like some mentors or not like a real estate mentor, but just like a business mentor, I guess, in general, at a job I had later on. Doing financial services, they just like taught us like real estate's the way. Always, even if you're young, you can buy a house. You can like, it will appreciate in the long run over enough years. So, I mean, knowing what I know now, I would have bought a different house. I would have like started with a duplex,
Sure.
which I think is the ultimate best way anyone can ever invest in real estate. Like at least to start, especially as a young person, just to like have, lower your bills like on a monthly basis.
Totally.
Like, especially your number one expense being housing. So.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I would have done that. Because, I mean, in the end, the house I bought, like, I had it for almost 6 years. Completely gutted renovation. Like, there was no floor. There was no windows for a period of time.
Yeah.
Like, when we
Wow.
did this, like, me and my dad, like,
Wow.
completely built everything. And it was really nice when we were done. But, I mean, I unfortunately lost that, like, due to foreclosure.
Did you have experience in construction or
Oh,
know
no.
anything about it?
No.
Okay.
My dad is the handiest man I've ever met. Like, my stepdad, actually. But, I mean, he's, my father these days.
This foreclosure happened to a lot of folks at that time.
Yeah.
What was the impetus of that, or?
Oh, I mean, a breakup
Yeah.
was a big one.
Classic.
I mean, we were, yeah. So, I mean, we're both on the loan, 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't know things back then. I was young still.
Right.
I mean, it was, when everybody was doing it also after 2008 crash. So we bought it for like $155,000 purchase price. When I bought it, like we had an appraise. It was appraised for $175,000.
Yep.
Like, oh, we got $20,000 equity like from day one. That's awesome.
Totally.
Eventually, it got down to like 100 to 105-ish. I'm like, this is sad and depressing. I guess knowing what I know now, like hold on to things and they'll appreciate at some point.
You would have been like, well, I'll keep paying my $500 payment, right?
Yeah. Well, it was like $1,200 or $1,300 actually, because I think the 80-20, the 100% financing.
Down, yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of money back then,
Right.
I grew up poor and,
Yep.
So, yeah. So, yeah, it was, interesting, I guess, going through that. It was, really challenging, like, especially at the time. I mean, it led to bigger and better things, I think, later on, and it was a huge learning lesson. But, yeah, so me and my ex, we broke up. She moved away. I was still stuck in the house. I mean, I had roommates off and on to try to help with the bills. It was a little tiny 2-bedroom house, though,
Yep.
so, like, it was still hard to get anybody besides a friend living there or whatever.
Totally.
Eventually got to a point, I was working full-time, 40, 50 hours a week, trying to pay bills, but it was 2008 crash, so, like, there wasn't a ton of money out there. Or,
Yep.
like, I didn't know how to go about the money in the right ways in those days, especially.
Totally.
to offset that. So I was like, okay, do I put gas in my car to get to work? Do I eat today, or do I pay my mortgage? Like spending $3 was really painful at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, okay, like lunch, like, okay, I guess I'll have an apple or, something along those lines, because like $3 or $5 for a sandwich, like that's something it's not in my budget currently. So like it got just a huge pain point, and I chose eating, I guess.
I mean, makes sense.
Like, I mean, as sad as that is, I mean, I hope I could have done other things and, like restructured, or, there's, some options
done
out
like
there.
a mod or something like that.
Maybe. I mean, I tried to do that for a long time. It was kind of weird, and I couldn't get a hold of people, and it was just like
everyone was trying to do that at that time.
I think they're just way overwhelmed.
Yeah,
so
super challenging.
I tried, at least, like, not maximum effort, I guess, but
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because that was less than 20 years ago, but we have really short-term memories, right? Because like nobody thinks about short sales or foreclosures right now. I mean, maybe short sales.
Short sales
are starting to come up because of like a lot of deferred mortgage deferrals that people had, but like that idea of, well, there's no equity in my house is just, when you have a lot of equity in your house, you have just so many more options.
Absolutely.
Right? People are going to beg, borrow, and steal to like defend that equity. But when, if like in your situation, right, where it's the choice of eating a sandwich or paying a mortgage, I mean, we're going to eat before we pay our mortgage, right?
I mean, unfortunately, yes. Well, maybe fortunately, I don't know.
Well,
like,
especially if that house isn't worth, the paper.
Yeah.
And so so you went through like the foreclosure proceedings. Talk a little bit about that. Like,
I mean, there was a man that came knocking on my door many times. I would, hide in the bedroom.
Sorry, I'm working.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is not something I really talk about, or like not something I'm open with. I guess I want to be transparent here and like just kind of share my story like as openly as possible.
There's a lot of people that went through it, and it's super interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for years I hid this from everyone. Maybe my closest family and friends knew, but it's not something like, strangers I would talk about or like, would be open about. The last few years I've tried to be open about it because it is my story. It is a journey, or, my journey. It also taught me a lot, and I think propelled me into what my knowledge and things that I'm doing today, which is very different than what I did in those days.
Yeah, well, I'm curious of how you kept your faith in real estate after the foreclosure. So can you tell us about how you kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, right?
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, if they make one bad move, it's like, I'm never doing that again, right?
Yeah. I guess I'm not that smart, or maybe, I don't know. I guess it was really ingrained in me, especially just like, kind of like I touched on, just the rich dad, poor dad, like this is it. Like, I guess I always knew deep down in my heart that real estate is the way, to financial freedom, to, live the life of your dreams. Like that's, and I mean, I remember like when I was probably 13 or 14 years old, I like went to my brother, we were picking him up, like my family, from like a friend's house. It was like a fourplex. I was like, I want to own one of those someday. I was a kid. I didn't know anything. I didn't read any books.
That's
like,
my family's not in real estate. To have that mindset when you're a teenager. Like, I'm pretty sure that my kids would never think.
I would think I'd want to live in a mansion.
I definitely. I would like want a swimming pool or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea where it came from, why it was there, or why I still remember that thought today. But it's something that like kind of like still reverberates with me.
Did your friend's dad talk about it at all, or was it? It was just
no. They were just. It was like they were just kind of run down, like very like C class ish. Fourplex, like in a not great area of the town. Like they didn't own it. They were just living there.
They're just renting it.
Yeah, they were just renting. We just pick up my brother's friend. Like it was nothing. Like not a big deal. I was like, that's really cool. Like,
man, that's really interesting mindset to have at that age. Yeah.
I haven't, like, my family has never done real estate. My family still mostly doesn't even own real estate. Like, I mean, my mom, she owns like a single family house now, but not like, I don't know anybody that's invested in real estate. So like, I don't know where it came from.
I'd say that's typical of many households in the country. Yeah. Own the primary, don't go beyond that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand the better, things from it now. But yeah, like I'm saying, like, growing up, I never had anybody to instill those things in me or say like, oh, you should invest in real estate. Like as a kid, especially when I was that age, like, no, not at all. Even at 20, I mean, I should do that. Or like somebody like, you should read this book. Like,
yeah, totally.
Okay. So
yeah, I've been talked into buying a house before. So.
Yeah.
Many a times.
I see.
So, I mean, you got foreclosed on, and then what happened?
So after that, I went to go live with my mom again for, it was like 6 months to 9 months. It wasn't like that long, kind of tucked my tail between my legs and, licked my wounds and that kind of stuff. At that point, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I think I actually might have lost my job at that point too. Just the company was downsizing, and it was,
Were you still serving at this time?
No, actually, then I was working for a telecommunications company.
Oh, okay.
Also in Medford. I won't say the name of it, but so yeah, it's like selling internet and Dish Network TV,
sure.
Stuff like that.
So this is the first
like customer service, not
sales,
a perfect job.
Still in sales though,
yeah, customer service / sales, but it's all sales. In the end, that's how you get paid anyway, commission based. But yeah, they were downsizing, so I got let go from that also. So it's like two big, things happen in life. Eventually, I decided I was just sitting there thinking, okay, what would I do if I didn't need money, or what would I do for free?
Yeah.
And I came with cooking. I used to love cooking. I did that, starting when I was 15 years old. And I started as a dishwasher in a restaurant, like a steakhouse, a very busy steakhouse. Then I worked my way up to prep, and then line cook, and then grill cook, and then trainer of all the people. And then I realized I would just overhear, because I'd like to listen to people and learn things just organically. All the servers about how much money they used to make.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I made $100. I made $150. I made $200 today. I'm like, I check my paycheck. I'm like, it takes me 4 days to make that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, hold on a second. And then that's not on top of their minimum wage they were making. I'm like, I can do that math. Wow. So then I petitioned to be a server, which took about 6 months. I became a server. And then I didn't like doing that, actually. I hated it. I just like the money. So I miss cooking.
It turns out serving actually sucks.
It does suck. I felt like a slave. I felt like a slave.
It's just a hard. Sales is in any place is hard. We always have that conflict between front of the house and the back of the house,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
I think there's upsides and downsides to both, right?
Oh no, they're both super important, and I eventually I understand the cohesion that has to be there between the two. But in those days, I didn't get it. So I was sitting there thinking what I want to do. So I loved cooking, and I used to cook since I was a kid. I would always bake, starting at 9, 10 years old, just for my family and people that would visit or whatever. So I decided to go to culinary school. So that's my first iteration of moving to Portland.
Oh, so that's right. You went to culinary school. Did you went to which one?
Oregon Culinary Institute.
Oh, OCI, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, OCI.
Nice.
Yeah, downtown Portland, Southwest, Goose Hollow area.
And you're at what age now?
26, 27.
Okay, so at this point, your credit is mostly recovered.
No.
No.
I wish. I remember I got a credit card before that. This is only, less than a year-ish later.
Oh, it's
less
only
than
a year later. Sorry, I thought you were saying you bought your home when you were 20, but okay. Yeah, I got a little bit confused.
Well, no, I owned it for 6 years.
Oh, yeah, you
owned it for 5.5, 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Yeah, it takes a little more time than that.
Correct. I wish it were that. Yeah, I got my first credit card after, which I'm surprised I qualified. It was $300 limit. I was with 20-something, 25, 20, 30% interest rate.
But you were able to get a real credit card, not a secured one?
For some reason, they gave me one. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I started building credit at 18. I got my first credit card at 18, which I think is one of the reasons I was allowed to buy a house at 20, even back in those days. But I was financed a car, but I'd pay it off within
so
a year.
You knew early on about building credit, and
I did. I don't know why or where from, but yes, I tried to build good credit starting at 18. Put gas on it, put groceries on it, the stuff. Because I moved out when I was 18. From my mom's house initially. Going to college and stuff. Got associate's degree, my first one. 2021.
Got it.
But it was always important to me to build good credit and just buy. I was told, buy the things that you're spending money on anyway that you would with a debit card. Just put it on a credit card, pay it off at the end of the month, kind of a thing. So
yeah,
I did that until I bought the house, and that kind of spiraled out of control. But
so you're in Portland, OCI.
Yep.
This is about what year?
Oh, math. Yeah, I was 13 years ago.
Okay.
13, 14 years ago.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 4 years after I moved here to go to clothing.
Oh, really?
School. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Where'd you go?
I went to Le Cordon Bleu.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was the other competition. We'd be walking downtown.
They're both closed now, or is OCI still open?
No, man. OCI closed 3 years.
Yeah, that's
ago.
what I thought.
Middle of COVID, just because they were getting the financing from the funds.
There's not a culinary school anymore, is there?
I didn't know Cordon Bleu closed, but there was the
Art Institute.
Yeah, for some time. I never knew anybody that went there or heard much about them. I know your school and my school were the two main ones.
Yeah, those are the two.
Yeah. I loved OCI. I don't know. I didn't know much about.
From what I heard, it was better.
All the teachers were all the people at Cordon Bleu at one point, and then they all left.
Then they all left
to start their own school.
Yeah.
So I guess I was reading that, did a bunch of research, on
Yeah.
the internet beforehand. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a great school. I mean, they had a full restaurant in there, so like that was one of our classes. It was a great experience.
Totally.
And that was like a year program, so it was a full associates also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was thankful for that, and it was probably one of the better decisions I've ever made in my life is to move. I mean, not small town, but smallish town.
Yep.
Just all my family, all my friends were there, so like moving up here. I had like one friend I used to work with, like, moved up here, like to Beaverton, because they already had a place, like a 3-bedroom place. It was like 2 guys I used to work with that I was roommates with.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was cheap living in those days.
Yeah.
So it was like, I want to say like $900 for the apartment of a 3-bedroom.
Really?
$950. I don't know. It was crazy.
Wow.
Like in those days. So
Nice.
how things have changed. Yes.
So you guys were splitting that, so it was like $300 each or something.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I think like, oh man,
Yeah.
it was hard back in those days, but like looking now, I'm like, that was.
I mean, it's good for us, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went there a couple years later to the same apartment complex, like when I moved back here. Like this is later on the story, but it was like 1,200-1,300. I'm like, it's the same place. Like it just got older. Like you guys didn't do anything.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so culinary school, and then
Culinary school, and then my journey is wild and varied. So there'd be no quiz at the end, I promise. So after culinary school, me and my friend that like we met in school. He was from Eugene originally, so we just met, hung out, get beers after class and stuff on the weekends, we'd hang out. We decided to go to Montana.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like an internship, but it was also just being a job.
like
so
at a lodge or?
Yeah.
Nice.
Glacier National Park, Montana. So beautiful area.
That sounds like a terrible place to work.
Terrible, yeah. It was gorgeous. It was not a
gosh.
great place to work, but that was a whole other.
I mean, that would have been an amazing setting, though.
Yeah, I wish I was working less and I was less tired. But all the other people that had different jobs that were not in the kitchen, they're like, oh, I went for a hike for a couple of days. I'm like, I'll get like one day off. And that day off, I'm working 12 hours a day, so I'm exhausted. My feet hurt, so I don't feel like going for a hike when that's what I should be doing here. Because it was on a Native American reservation where we lived. It was a 255-room hotel. But we told oh, come to this place, it's great. You can have fun, go hiking. We love nature, being from here. So I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And get some experience. We showed up there, there was nothing prepared, there was nothing ready. It was all closed down for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we showed up in May. And oh, here's the menu. I'm like, okay, what do we do now? Well, go set it up. I'm like, what do you mean?
Nobody to train you, nothing?
There was a chef there, but he was 73 years old, and he'd worked in retirement homes for most of his career.
Oh, so you came over there to basically take over.
Well,
in a sense.
I didn't know that till we arrived.
Oh, okay.
That was not told ahead of time, to be fair. It's just something that kind of occurred because that's how they get you to go
I've
to those
heard that
places.
about moving on resorts or cooking on boats and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, where's the recipe book? Like,
Nah.
what are you talking about?
You're the recipe book.
like it's on the menu. Well, what does this mean? Robust chimichurri. What does robust mean to you, Seth? Spicy? He's like, sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, so red pepper flakes? He's like, yeah, sounds great. I'm like, so we designed our own recipes. Yeah, it was a crazy, crazy wild experience. How do we set things up on here? Figure it out. We had a month in the beginning. It was pretty slow.
Yeah.
So we got to make mistakes
out your
and change it up and
processes,
where to set up your line, where your tools go.
Great experience.
It taught me so many things of what not to do in a restaurant.
Totally.
Yeah. I got to make curry a lot, Thai coconut curry, which is one of my favorite things all time to make. I was very fortunate in culinary school. My first class was taught by a Nepalese chef from Nepal.
Oh, cool.
And he taught us, spice grinding and
Yeah.
mortar and pestle and all the stuff. So me and my friend cared so much about our recipes that we would drive an hour to the store, to the Asian market to get the ingredients to make this Thai coconut
That's
curry.
cool.
It's oh, just use the powder. I'm like, no, that kills me in my soul. I can't do that.
Right.
I'll spend my own money to go do this. And we did the whole season. It was crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild, but eventually I met, I guess, what is now my wife there. She was there for school. She was between her junior, senior year of undergrad. She's actually from Massachusetts. So we met there. We were, just friends for months before, just hanging out. There wasn't much to do after you got off work, because you worked in the kitchen too, which she had zero experience doing. She just, got put there, random summer job with her sister. So yeah, we're just hanging out, go to bonfires, play cards and
Fun.
drink, of course, because there's not much else to do on a reservation in the middle of nowhere, with no restaurants, no
Oh,
anything.
you were the restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But once that's closed, then there's nowhere to go. Yeah, when it gets dark, just stay inside.
Yeah. So, I mean, you had this experience out in Montana, and
Yep.
what was your next journey? And were you kind of burnt out from this whole chef thing at this point?
I was and wasn't. I wanted to really give it a go, and I thought that was what I love to do, even though it was rough and hard and, wear and tear on the body, a lot of hours. So after that, she was in Massachusetts. I had 2 months more in my contract that I had to fulfill because I eventually became the sous chef there because obviously there was not many people doing other things. There was one for a while. He got let go for various reasons. Wasn't doing his job.
Yeah.
Me and my friend were running the restaurant anyway, like as far as anyone else was concerned. So when I started there, I was making like $10 an hour at a culinary school, so that was pretty awesome. We got a raise to $10.50 eventually, so good times.
I started at, I think, 10 or 11.
Yeah, out of school.
Out of school, yeah.
That's crazy,
By the time
man.
I left, it was like 13 or something like that.
Jeez.
At a James Beard Award restaurant.
You're making 13 at Doc?
No, that was at
Oh.
Paley's, yeah.
Oh, you worked at Paley's?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's,
Yeah.
that's a good place. I used to
Yeah.
love there.
Yeah.
Wow. It's...
Okay, so
Yeah, rough industry.
Yeah,
Rough industry.
Don't go into culinary.
Well, I go to culinary school, but don't be a chef for the rest of your life. No. It was a great, wonderful experience. I learned so much. I'm thankful I have cooking skills today. But I wish I would have got out a few years before I did. I think that's... Like, I met some great people, still friends to this day,
Yeah.
experiences and, like work ethic and those sort of things. So I take a whole lot from it.
Okay.
So I can't knock it, I guess.
And
but,
you can make some great meals now, so.
my wife loves it, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to cook, 5 days a week for her. So.
Long-term skills, yeah.
Yeah. You
I
can't take those away.
I love going to Jordan's house. He always cooks for me.
I bet, man. I heard some of the stuff he was making the other day. I was jealous and wanted to come over for dinner.
Yeah. So you came back to Portland then?
No, actually. So that, like I said, it was starting after my 2 months there. She's my girlfriend then, it was 2 months not seeing her, like after like a couple weeks relationship, so it wasn't much. It's like, I'll regret if I don't go see like that girl.
Oh, wow.
Like, what was going on with her or like what could be, I don't know. So she was in school, finished up her senior year of undergrad, doing biology and psychology and neuroscience. She got a dual bachelor's degree eventually. But so like I'll regret it if I don't go see what could be. I've never been to the East Coast. I've never been past Montana, honestly, like in this country before that. So I hopped on a plane, left 2 cars with my parents, gave to one my brother, flew across the country to Massachusetts, took a bus to her place. Said, I'll be here for a week or a couple of years. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know what the journey is. I obviously graduated culinary school. I worked in a few restaurants. I got some decent skills.
That's the cool part about cooking. You can literally move
Exactly,
anywhere in the world and get a job.
Exactly. Right? I had like one interview set up for the next following morning, like early, which was kind of stupid because I was jet lagged and tired and stuff, but which didn't get that job anyway. But yeah, I started just walking around the city, passing out resumes, talking to chefs, and applying to stuff. I eventually got many jobs.
Yep.
A couple French restaurants. Was an executive chef of a big giant brewery with 450 seats, which was a lot of fun.
It's crazy.
Me and the owners didn't see eye to eye, so things didn't work out great there. Well, I'll put it this way. In the beginning when I arrived, they didn't salt their French fries.
Oh, that's not good at all.
No, it was not. So it's a tough journey uphill to so eventually like, well, this isn't working out between the two of us. Like, I'm trying to run your restaurant and make it, high quality because I, been working fine dining before that for a little while. So I worked at, 2 French restaurants. So,
right.
That's where my passion was, I guess. And I was trying to elevate things there. Yeah, it was fine. Then I became a butcher after that just because I love cutting meat. And all the restaurants I worked at, I was the meat cutter for whatever reason. So it was kind of zen and just, like, therapeutic for me. So I wanted to become a butcher, so I applied to a butcher shop. So I did that for a while. It was like a small, like, kind of family-run, like, grocery store. But, like, their butcher counter was really gourmet and had, a lot of high-end stuff.
Nice.
So did that, for a year. Then my wife finished school. We're kind of thinking about what the journey is after that. Then we actually came back to Portland for the second time, her and I together. Her mom was actually already living here. Her aunt had lived here, so she had ties to Portland before that. So it wasn't like that big of a drastic change. Great. Like she'd only been here like once or twice, but still, like it was home to me. So.
Right.
So we came living in Southwest. That was good. The place we were living in, they sold, so we moved to Beaverton. It's kind of like on the border in the hills. there, which was nice.
Yep.
Got a job, worked at a golf course for a long time, almost 4 years there, cooking as well, as a sous chef. I did that, a lot of weddings, a lot of golf tournaments, a lot of parties, and a lot of cooking, like 10, 12, 14, 16-hour days, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, the life.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yep.
I knew getting into it, so, yeah. She was, my wife, she worked at a vet clinic, so she's like a technician there.
Oh, nice.
For a few years. So in that time, like we were living in an apartment, the rents were increasing. I kind of saw where they were going. This is still, you know, a long time ago, so still not anywhere close to the prices today. So we were thinking like, okay, or I was thinking because she was actually applying to veterinary school.
Right.
So she's trying to get in, which is a 4-year doctorate degree. So like, okay, if I don't have an income from her for 4 years, how can I afford things? So eventually that led me to be looking at, well, buying condos in Beaverton. I was like, nah, I don't want a roommate. Like, okay, how do I not have a roommate? Eventually that got me down the road of buying a duplex. So I bought a duplex in Staten, Oregon, down by Salem, actually.
Oh, so you, instead of buying a house to live in, you bought a rental?
Well, it was a duplex that I lived in.
Oh, you lived in, you just made the commute.
All the way to Beaverton?
Well, no, it was Aurora, so just south of Wilsonville is where I worked at.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was still
that's
like
not
an
too
hour.
bad, yeah.
It was like an hour drive because it was like, 15 minutes east of Salem.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it was a commute, but she worked in Wilsonville too, so like we both just commuted, every day. But it was like before she got into vet school. So it was, a journey, not ideal.
What was the price of duplexes then there?
Oh, man, I wish I could buy 1,000 of them right now.
Yeah.
208,000.
280,000?
208.
208,000.
I was really upset about that price.
I know.
I was like, I want 175.
Yeah.
How can I, like, come on, 180? Like, that's a better price.
Do you remember, like, what your monthly payment was and what you were renting out the other side for?
It was, well, yeah. So initially there was actually 2 people living there. So it was actually a distressed owner that I had an agent. I mean, I looked for 6-7 months before I purchased this because, like, we made, I don't know, 8 or 10 offers on various ones all over Salem, Dallas, like all over the place.
So you had a very specific box you were trying to buy in.
I mean, well, Salem area.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was hoping for Salem proper.
But you wanted like a duplex and you wanted it to be X price and you wanted to be.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't making a lot of money in those days. Like, decent money, but not a lot. And plus I wouldn't have her income. So like, she was actually technically not on the mortgage at that point because she was, going to vet school and was not going to have income and stuff and wasn't going to be living there much.
Right.
So yeah, it was just myself that qualified. I mean, it was always our house, so it was never my house or anything. But so yeah, I was 208. There was 2 people living there. It was like one Section 8, and then just one lady had been living there for like 6 or 7 years. The rents were, I want to say, $575 and $625, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, which, at the 208, like, purchase price was not good. Right. So I was always shooting for, like, 2% in those days is what I wanted. Right. So, like, 2% of the purchase price. So, 208 would have been, $2,080 a month is what I was wanting to occur. I was like, well, I guess I can get it up over time. So then, yeah, I had to evict the 1 people. Well, like, asked them to leave, and there wasn't an eviction because I just needed to move in there because I had a FHA loan, which is a 3.5% down loan. So it was owner-occupied loan, so I had to live there, but I had 90 days to do that. Which in Oregon, I think we had to give them, is it 60 or 90 days? I don't remember which one.
I think back then it was probably 60.
I think it might have been 60, sounds
like
about
90
right.
now.
I think it's 90 now.
Yeah. Okay, that's what. That rings. I think is 60 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like they were not happy about it because they've been living there for like 10 years, and I felt really bad, but it was in rough shape. I was like, well, I want to take the worst side, just because I want to be able to fix it up, when I'm living there.
Yeah.
So I can rent out the better one, at a higher price point, kind of thing.
Totally.
So yeah, eventually, got them out. That was kind of a struggle. It was interesting getting paid from the government on the first of every month. I'd never had that happen before, so.
Section 8 is great.
Once I got my first rent check, like that was kind of a mind-blowing thing. It was like,
I just got
wait, you can get money? Like, hold on.
Do labor. I wasn't cutting onions for that.
I didn't saute anything. like it was like an epiphany, I guess. Like it was crazy that I just own this thing. And I remember initially, I don't even remember how, because maybe the time of the month that we closed on, I got $1,800 or something of a check when we closed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even know exactly what occurred or why, to be honest with
Maybe
you.
security deposits.
It went through. It did not bounce.
Yeah, maybe it's like the security deposit checks.
I think it was part of that, and then part of like the prorated month.
Yeah,
of the renter. Like it was something like that. But I was like, oh wow, cool, like money. Like,
So you were living on one side, and was the other side like basically offsetting your expenses or your mortgage?
no, just a little bit. Because that was only it was at like $625 a month.
Okay.
So I mean, I did shortly after that raise the rent. I mean, I don't remember what I did. It was either $50 or $75 a month.
Okay.
Like it wasn't a lot. It might have been 100.
Okay.
It was 100 or less. Let's put it that way, because I don't believe in ever doing it over 100 for somebody that's existing tenants, just because I think that's rude.
Yeah.
It was far under market, because I think market then was maybe 900-ish.
Okay.
At that moment, I mean, it like eventually got a lot better than that, but it was So it was far market. She knew that. It was an older lady. I mean, she was still working and stuff, but she was super nice and took care of it. It was every time I ever went over there, it was like perfectly clean, no dishes in the sink ever.
Nice.
Like, even on a random occurrence, I knocked on the door or something, or whatever. So yeah, she was a great tenant. I would have kept her forever if I could have. So yeah, I lived there. Before we moved in, we were still living in Beaverton, and I was working. My family, thank God for them, they saved and helped me so much. Like we painted, put in new floors. My brother had done construction, so he put in all new floors for me.
Oh, nice.
So like LVP.
Nice.
Wood grain kind of.
Nice,
so he put in all that. Didn't charge me for it. I think I got him some food or something.
Right.
Basically free labor.
Yeah.
My parents came. They helped me paint, and my stepdad, he's handy, so he's doing all other random stuff that need to be done. Doors and whatever fixtures and things. So I mean, it was in pretty bad shape. I mean, eventually after we were living there for a period of time, we got a new roof. That was part of the closing contingency. So the old owners put a new roof on because it was kind of bad shape. So I had a brand new roof. I mean, we eventually put in windows, and I mean, we did everything. Countertops and sinks, and no plumbing, no electrical. So not the main items, but everything else was all brand new.
Wow.
Over the next 2 years. So I mean, all new like light switches, all new plugs. Like every plug was bad.
So it was pretty turnkey by that point.
Oh yeah. It was great.
And then did you go on to sell it, or what did you?
Eventually I did. I mean, eventually got the lady that was living next door. She moved out. After a couple years, then we rented it again. I rented it for like $11.25.
Oh,
and I think
that's a big jump.
Almost double the rents in.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like
your mortgage
3.5 years later.
Meanwhile, your mortgage is the same payments, and now it's like offsetting over half, right?
Yeah, I think we were at a 4.25 interest rate initially, and then during COVID, they gave us with the same mortgage company like a 3.25.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna draw my payments. I want to say $13.25.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, so your total payment was $1,400, and you were renting out one side for $1,200.
Like $11.75, and my mortgage was $13.25. Yeah. In the end, before I left, I was paying $150 for a mortage.
That's
plus utilities, but where else can you do that?
No, you can't.
That's
the power of sweat equity and just
Yeah. That's why
family.
Just living in duplex. I mean, for anybody starting out, young person, doesn't matter the age. That is the best thing I've ever told anybody I ever come across. You must do this. You don't have a choice. Keep that minimum, and then you can save your money to invest in some buy something in the future. And grow your wealth. That's the biggest thing you can ever do. So it helped me and propelled me. So my wife was in school at that point. She was doing her doctorate degree. She actually did that in the Caribbean.
So she was you didn't see her at all for a long time then.
I mean, I saw her in the summer. She eventually,
Yeah. Okay.
And then actually, unfortunately, COVID happened, so she got kicked out of school. So I'm glad we owned a place actually. So then she was, doing a year and a half online, which is terrible for something that's a hands-on experience.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad for her.
Online.
Yeah, and then it's weird because at that school, I mean, they do 3 years on the island is how it's always done, and then the fourth year. Is more of a hands-on year, so it's not
you go
exactly. Yeah, exactly. She was all these different things, and she worked in a clinic, in Corvallis. She applied to OSU, in Corvallis, Oregon, because that's near our home. So she had really good grades and did well, graduated with honors and all that stuff. So she could have the pick of whatever she wanted. So that was her number one pick. She had other ones as a backup, like Denver and stuff like that. But so she went to Oregon State for her fourth year. So she actually still lived just right off campus, in a rental, an apartment. It was only a 45-minute drive, so I got to see her on the weekends mostly. But so then when she finished vet school, then we moved again. She got a job offer in Connecticut. So yeah, then we moved across the country. We eventually did end up selling our house, our duplex.
And then did you buy in Connecticut then? Or?
No, we lived in a very terrible,
there,
terrible rent. Well, we didn't plan to be there. It was like a stepping stone.
It's a short term, yeah.
Quick question about selling
absolutely.
your home.
Yep.
I mean, you bought it for $208.
Yep.
You fixed it up.
Yep.
And how many years later? And how much did you sell for?
5.5-ish, 460.
Ooh, there you go. Okay.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I can't complain, but I mean, I was like, if we get like 350, like 375, like I'll be pretty happy because of what we purchased for. I mean, we dumped.
But the value was there because the rents had gone up.
Now things
so
were starting
much,
to. That's when the interest rates were
were
climbing at that point.
Right.
So it was like 2.5, almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So like that was like at the very tip top, I think, of the market. Like another couple of months, and it probably would have been 20 grand less.
Sure.
Like we got lucky, so
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate and amazed at what we got.
I
for
mean,
it.
kind of. You also you put a lot of work into it, and when
There's value there.
Steven
Yeah.
always talks about forced appreciation. When you raise the
Yeah.
rents almost
Definitely.
double, that
Yeah.
that basically makes the home twice as valuable.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think when we left, it was probably could have rented for $1,350.
Oh, yeah.
13.
I mean, going from
$1,350 to
$1,400
$1,400 ish was what I think the rents would have been.
Yeah, I mean, and investors are going to clamor for that. They're
Yeah.
going to be looking for the higher rents.
Yep.
So they'll be willing to pay a higher price. So that's why it goes
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah, I mean that's what somebody did, I guess. So it's
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. I mean, yeah, we did. I mean, all the windows were brand new. I mean, everything was basically brand new in there. Floors, and I had it fully painted. I mean, we did a lot of landscaping.
And so then, what did you parlay that into? Like, what was your next move?
Oh, so when we were living there, actually, just to go back a little bit, it was probably a year or two before that, I purchased a fourplex, actually.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, kind of random, but
Was this on a primary loan or?
oh no, this was an investor loan. It's supposed to be 20% down. Eventually, it was 25% down, I believe. But this actually was in Ohio.
Oh, so you went the Midwest cash flow route.
exactly.
Where did you get these funds? Was it just from saving?
No. I wish it were that easy. I mean, it was saving because I was like I said, paying $150 more for my mortgage. So yeah. So if you're only paying $150, then it's easy to save some money.
Yeah.
So I did a couple creative things, which I guess a lot of people wouldn't do. Maybe I refinanced my car because I had a lot of equity in my car. It was close to paid off. It was a Toyota Corolla that I had bought brand new. They were offering me a 2.75 interest rate. I was like, that's basically free money.
Interesting.
So I got $12,000 cash, from them. I cashed in my 401k because I had a little bit from various things, savings over the years, a job, and then just like a little bit.
You just
of
cashed
inheritance.
it out and took the
I cashed everything
took
out.
the hit, took the penalty.
I mean, it wasn't that much money, so I mean, we're talking maybe $15,000.
Okay.
like 15, maybe 20 maximum.
I mean, for someone who hasn't, cashed out their 401k
Yeah.
to buy real estate, what is the hit? How much did you?
I mean, I don't actually know what it was because I had so much like offset of the real estate. Like the duplex that we own, because like the renovations and stuff, that was
right because you didn't
The
pay
interest
the
rate,
taxes right away
the
when you took it out. You
depreciation.
said okay, I'll pay the taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, it wasn't like a upfront thing.
Yeah.
It was they gave me as much maximum, but then I had so much I didn't have a ton of income right then because I actually had changed jobs, but so I had less income and also just all the offsetting of the depreciation, the interest rate. All the renovations we did, kind of everything together, really offset most of that.
Interesting.
Oh,
So I didn't really notice much of a hit, to be honest with you, in my taxes. I still got similar, back at the end of the year than I had in the previously. So.
Okay, good. I mean, I never thought that there's that tax hit, I could offset
Yeah.
it with write-offs and everything
Yeah.
for my real estate.
I didn't really know that either. I had a tax guy and CPA that took care of that for me. I
I have a ton of write-offs, so
Yeah.
I might go that route.
That's good. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't a ton of money, but it
But
still
it was
helped a
enough
lot.
seed money to
Yeah,
make the purchase.
Yeah, so save some money, refinance the car, cashed in that.
That's
And
like
then
I
had
haven't
enough.
heard. We haven't heard that on the show yet.
Oh, really?
Refinanced a car to purchase a
Yeah,
home.
I mean, they just how much you want? 10,000? I'm like, sure. I was like, I think about it the next day. I'm like, hey guys, can I get 12? Like, yeah, okay.
Nice.
Like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, I took that and I bought my fourplex, kind of the one I guess maybe I envisioned or saw when I was 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah, so you were saying in Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio, yes.
Toledo, Ohio, fourplex, probably C class.
Yeah, C class.
C-ish class.
Yeah.
How much did you save, and how much was this purchase price?
I don't know all the money that I saved. I mean, it was 25% down, so I mean, it was probably $25,000-$30,000 ish.
So
it cost me.
A little bit.
I mean, it was $84,000.
$84,000 for a fourplex.
I know that's. I know. Okay, there's a reason I went to Ohio. Because, like, I was, analyzing the market. And, I mean, not what I know now, but in those days.
Like before doing that in the Midwest got super popular, or was it like when it was?
Kind
when it
of
was already
then. I
happening?
mean,
This is like 2 years ago, 2, 3.
That was like 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
4.5 years ago.
So the market was super hot. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was hot. I mean, I read like
Bigger Pockets was.
I did.
Talking
Oh
about
man,
this like
I
crazy,
was.
right?
I'm a student of Bigger Pockets.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've listened to, not much recently, but all their older podcasts. I mean, every single day. Like my car was my classroom, especially on that hour commute.
Yeah, I've done
each
that.
way.
A lot of Beardy Brandon and.
So much.
I forgot.
I love that guy. Josh Dorkin, David Green. I read his
David
book,
Green, yeah.
Long Distance Real Estate Investing. That kind of like, I guess maybe gave me the confidence to do it.
Okay, yeah.
And I was looking at different places. Like, well, I didn't like the ratio, like the purchase price versus the rent in Oregon anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause, like I'm buying something for even $400,000 in those days, and like what's going to rent for $2,500? I'm like, the numbers don't make sense, and I could not really cover a mortgage from that.
Right.
Just from like an ultra basic analysis because I didn't know what I know now.
Right.
But like
You were just
Just-
your main metric was cash flow.
yeah, like, well, I need to make more than the mortgage
Yep.
costs. If I'm breaking even or even less than that, then I'm losing money, and I can't afford to sustain that for very long.
But in that market in Toledo, would you say
Mm-hmm.
there's any appreciation at all, or is there anything?
There has been the last couple of years.
Okay.
It's minimal.
Yeah.
I wish it was higher.
Yeah, what's it worth now, approximately?
Right now, probably 150-ish.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's not
I'd
terrible.
say
Yeah.
that's, I mean, from 84 to 150.
Yeah.
Did you
I
have
mean,
to put a lot into it, or?
I mean, I've probably. I've turned over or 3 of the units.
Okay.
One of them twice because the first renovations weren't great. I mean, I haven't done a lot of like. Hot water heaters, a couple of those. Furnace.
Yeah.
Or no, not the furnace. The AC, we did that. Other than that, not too much. I mean, probably 25,000 ish.
Okay.
And what
I
were
did-
the rents when you got into it?
Oh, 425. I want to say.
And now
450. Right now, I mean, I just actually raised some. Well, my property manager did because I don't really deal with much of
Right.
anything there, to be honest with you. They're 775.
Okay.
For a couple of the units, some are 725.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7 to 775.
Okay.
That is unfortunate with all utilities included. So I mean, it's still a very
it's cash
inexpensive
flowing.
market.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're like 550 square feet each.
Okay, so pretty small.
So they're small,
units.
like 1 bedrooms, but
Okay,
they're more
yeah.
like a single person occupancy.
But your mortgage is what, like $1,000 or something?
Yeah, around 1,000. I mean, I cashed out last year.
Oh, okay.
I took like $30,000 cashed out.
And
when I
mortgage
refinanced it.
about $1,000, and your
Yeah,
so cash
1,000,
flowing
1,050,
about
something like that.
1,800 or something like that.
Rents are like 27.
27.
Well, they're gonna probably 28ish now.
Oh,
Plus,
great.
plus property management, so what, 15 or so?
Well, the problem is, I mean, I pay all utilities actually.
Oh, utilities too.
So
okay.
that's
all the utilities.
all. Yes.
Oh,
So
interesting.
one thing I didn't know that I know now is don't do that.
Oh, is it something you wrote into your contracts, or?
Well,
they
it's
already
just
said-
it's just like an old house or like
Yeah.
an old fourplex.
Oh,
that's nothing
split.
separate.
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
so there's one
Doesn't have all
there's
separate
one
lines.
furnace.
Yeah.
There's
So you don't
the-
really have a choice. I mean,
Well, they-
maybe
they-
you could prorate it.
You could bake it into the price. You could say, hey,
Well,
we're-
it's just we have the max rent we can get for that in that
okay,
area
and then the
with that
competition.
class.
Yeah,
probably
correct,
push it,
exactly.
make it difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, my property manager kind of dictates those
You
things.
can only
so-
make
Yeah,
so
they-
much
they
in the
know what
price,
they're doing,
right?
right?
Exactly. I mean, I'll be honest with you. One time, this is a couple years ago, but I had a $4,000 water bill
Oh.
for like a month and a half.
Because it was leaking, some leak somewhere.
And I had multiple plumbers go out there. I had the city go out there. Nobody I guess it was a running toilet. I'm like, that's not $4,000.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the water company, like, well, if it didn't go through the plumbing to the sewer, we could just let it slide. But the water passed through, so therefore, you have to pay it.
Oh.
Some they worked with me, and it was like monthly payments over a year period of time.
Oh,
or
interesting.
Whatever. But
So that at least in Salem, they will always, if I can prove that I've fixed it, they'll
really,
give me an adjustment on it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like if I
that'd be
have
nice.
a leaky sprinkler and they're like, yeah, I get like a $600 bill. And I'm like, oh, that's bad. And then
that's
if
awesome,
I fix
actually.
it, then they'll adjust it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They don't necessarily take the whole amount, but they usually make an adjustment.
They didn't work with me at all.
Oh.
I negotiated. I mean, I didn't get a lawyer involved, which maybe I should have, but I didn't have one.
I mean, by
And,
the time you pay the lawyer
I
for
know,
a $4,000
exactly.
thing, it's always
I mean,
like,
with
maybe
the
you
rent,
save
the rent's
$500
covered it
or
anyway.
something, yeah.
It just means less cash flow to me, but still. one of those things. I mean, that has a lot of like repair issues because it's 120 years old at this point. So if the utilities weren't separate, that'd be a cash cow.
But long story short,
Yep.
you did this and you've kept it. You feel like it was a smart investment overall.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it got me started on my like true investing besides just the house hack.
Yeah.
You
learned the lessons and you didn't lose money, right? So.
Exactly. Yeah, I've not lost money.
And can you just kind of give your opinion on obviously having a property local versus having a property
Sure.
further away out of state?
Yeah, I'm kind of a control freak, so it's very hard to not like want to drive by and see it. I much preferred, just living next door, so I know what the tenants are doing. I know how well it's being taken care of. I know, what the inside looks like. It's being managed to my standard, not someone else's standard. So that's, to be hands off has been very challenging for me. I mean, I go there. I try to go. I mean, right now it's challenging, but every 6 to 8 months, I'll try to go to Ohio. Living in Connecticut,
you're super hands on.
Well, I mean. I guess I'm not in more property now, but
especially when you have a property manager too. Like,
you can trust them, but you still got to manage the managers. Like, they're not going to do it as well as you.
Right. True.
So I always help. Where I lived in Connecticut, it was a 10-hour drive. So I'd take that drive once in a while. So when I was just in school, so I didn't have like a full-time job or anything, so it was easier in those days.
We won't even drive across town, much less 10 hours.
Yeah, we won't drive to Wood Village to go see our property. I haven't seen it in months. Maybe like 6 to 8 months.
I try to go by every 6 months.
Yeah, well, that's why we have property management.
Yeah. It helps, yeah. You guys are funny. Maybe I'm a control freak, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm different. I don't know. So there's good and bad. It's nice not like I get an email typically once a month, with my profit and loss statements with, issues, and I get like a little summary of each property I have and stuff from my manager. And they know me well. Like I make sure to have good relationships with, all the people involved, like the contractor, the manager of them. Like he, is I guess kind of one of my friends now. So like, we talk on the phone, we get along well. I send them pizza, send them coffee. Like, so they like, I'm at the top of their list of like, people that want to help.
Smart.
Oh, it's wonderful. I go there, like I buy them pizza, especially when I'm in town.
Yeah.
Like, we go to lunch together, usually with me and the owners. Cause like just a husband, wife, team that own it.
Shop. Okay.
Yeah. They own well over 100 units now together themselves, which is why they started the company.
They're like, what's a couple more?
Yeah. So we're doing this thing already. We might as well. And then they, in the beginning, kind of purchased a whole construction company, which is the manager that I deal with. His name's Bill. I was just talking to him this morning, as a matter of fact. Great guy. But they purchased a whole company with like 30 employees to bring into their property management company. So everything is under one umbrella.
That makes sense.
So they do call external contractors.
Yeah, if they have to, or they have, a couple subs that they might need for, electrical or something. Yeah. But, most of the major stuff is all in-house. And they, they have their own full-time maintenance. Like a couple years ago, I got a call, or not even a call, just an email, like Christmas morning. Like Christmas Day, like 2 years ago, like, oh, your furnace is out. There's no heat in this property. It's snowing out. I'm like, okay. So I put my phone down and went back to bed. And then like a couple hours later, like, oh, it's fixed. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
nice.
Like, I deal nothing with it. So like just that being hands off and that like peace of mind that I don't have to worry about a phone call. I don't get to stress out. I don't get a deal on Christmas morning to like go to a property or figure out or like make the phone call around to who can fix this. Cause I don't usually have that on, speed dial or anything. So like that's been really nice and just like it's helped my, mental state, I guess.
Yeah, it's good.
Like over the years.
Like I said,
I believe in property managers, like huge.
Yeah, so you got your hands-on experience from your duplex. Yep. You got your hands-off-ish experience with your property manager. What then made you decide, okay, I'm going back to school and I'm going to get my, you're pursuing a master's in real estate through the PSU?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, talk about that. Like what attracted you to that and like what do you feel like that's going to add to your career?
I hope a lot. After I sold my duplex, I bought 4 more properties then. So I have a portfolio of 9 units currently right now. In also Toledo, Ohio, all within about a mile and a half.
All in the same area.
So you have the same manager.
Exactly. Yeah, same manager. They're all like, we're in like one little square mile, of each other. So it's all like, I know that area like the back of my hand now. When I bought the fourplex, I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Like I understand and have, a decent amount of experience with residential, properties and stuff just from what I, just kind of touched on. So for me to go, back to school again to get my master's degree because I actually just finished my bachelor's last year.
Oh yeah, because you said you had an associate's before. Okay.
I had two associates before, which I tried to combine those, and they don't equal a bachelor's. Just heads up. So just for everybody out there, I had one from community college, and then my associates in culinary.
Right.
So that's not a bachelor's. So then I had to go back to school for another couple years. So I did that online. So I did that mostly in Connecticut. I started when I was here in Oregon before we moved a couple years ago. Almost 3 years ago now. But so in Connecticut, my wife was working, so that actually gave me some leeway to just go to school full time. Obviously buy properties and do all this stuff that I was doing with the real estate and going to Ohio and everything as well.
Can I ask how you were buying those properties if you weren't working at that time?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, debt service ratio loan, right?
No. I mean, I used most of the money from the proceeds of the sale of the duplex from here to that.
You could qualify with investor loans too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I did a couple DSCR loans.
You don't need to have employment if you use a DSCR loan.
Yeah, exactly.
For our audience, you want to just explain that really quick?
Oh yeah. So instead of it goes off of your credit, but it's not like your debt to income ratio, which is the normal way that FHA and conventional uses. You probably know better than I do how this works, obviously, but if you have a W-2, it makes it really easy to qualify for a loan. If you have, if you're self-employed, if you're 1099, if you're doing anything else outside of a strict W-2, it's hard to qualify for a loan.
Depending, yeah.
Well, it can.
It depends on your finances. Sometimes it's really easy, sometimes not. Yeah.
Okay. I guess in my experience, it was harder to qualify for things because I didn't have an income. My wife did, so that did help.
Well, yeah.
And she had a good income.
If your 1099 is zero, then yes.
Correct.
If your 1099 is a lot, then no.
Yeah. So one of those properties I did buy cash. So that was no loan at all.
Okay.
Then another one, I qualified. I think the fourplex. I did that when I was still working, so I qualified for that just normally. And that was just straight conventional, 25% down at that point. I did the DSCRs for the rest of them,
right?
Because I didn't have I had the money for the down payments. I didn't have the income monthly to show.
Yeah, so instead of looking at your global cash flow like a normal conventional loan, a DSCR loan is going to look at the cash flow of the specific property in question and whether or not those monthly payments are going to offset the mortgage.
Exactly.
And then you're looking at a 20% down payment or more on a debt service ratio loan.
Correct.
And they can be used for Airbnbs as well. Mm-hmm. There's different calculations for those. Anyway.
So I did put 20% down on the rest of those.
Steven,
thank you. It made it a little harder to qualify, but it still wasn't that big of a deal. And I found a broker that kind of specialized in DSCR and kind of a little more creative aspects. Not super creative, but so it made it easier to do that because other people I was working with in the previously didn't understand that realm, so they didn't really. If you don't fit into the box, then I can't really help you.
Yeah,
or automatic no. So.
It's much more common in the commercial world.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're super creative, and you can do all kinds of funky things. So anyway, what your question earlier, sorry to go on so many tangents here.
Yeah, no.
But the reason for me to go into get a master's degree right now, after just finishing a bachelor's, was for one to work in real estate. So I want to work in commercial real estate, having a job, most likely asset management or acquisitions is kind of what I'm leaning towards at this moment. So when I want a career in real estate.
Well, what does that mean for somebody that's not familiar with commercial real estate?
Okay.
And what does that look like?
So acquisitions, that's identifying and finding properties to purchase. So that's going to be usually for
who? Yeah.
It could be like a family trust. It could be a REIT. Sorry, I probably need to touch on that, but a corporation of some sort. So somebody wants to invest in, say a strip mall. So identify, is this a good property to buy? Are the cash flows, going to be adequate to cover the debt, service ratios, things like that. Is it going to make money long term? How much is it going to appreciate?
Right.
So
you're hoping to work actively for a company or more as a broker or
work for a company.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what company. Not a massive global company. I don't think something smaller most likely, but we'll see how that journey.
And if you work for a company performing that service for them, can you also on the side do your own brokering and sales?
That's my goal and my plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So this summer my plan is to work towards getting my broker's license.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
So yeah, something I want to do not as an active job because everybody says oh you're getting a degree in real estate. It's oh you're gonna sell houses. I'm like. No. Like every single person, like my family members, I had like spend 10, 15 minutes explaining to them things I could do, and they usually still don't understand. Like,
that's. I mean, I think a lot of us in the industry are like, oh, you're going to get a master's in real estate. Why don't you just go sell houses? And it's like, well,
you don't need any. I could get a high school diploma and still do that.
And there's also other careers in real estate, right?
I mean, there's so many careers in real estate that most of us. I mean, even before like this program I'm doing right now, I didn't even know about that existed. Like, they are there. I mean, like Starbucks, they have real estate people that work for them to identify the properties, to go over leases, to negotiate leases.
Probably check the neighborhoods, make sure there's.
Well, I mean, they're doing some research before they plop down to Starbucks, and there's one on this corner and there's one on the other corner.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, and they spent a lot of time and thousands of hours and millions of dollars to make sure that is a good location for it to put.
Oh, there's one strip mall in Seattle that has 4.
Yeah.
Like literally like walking distance to each one.
Yeah.
Like,
but they've done their research that they're not going to be oversaturated to do that.
Maybe they are now. I don't know.
I mean, maybe at this when they put them in anyway, it made sense.
Yes.
So, but like all these different corporations, I mean, they're Columbia. Anybody any clothing company, like they need to identify. Maybe they don't buy the real estate, but they need to figure out where a good location is.
Yeah.
Like to lease a space or in this mall in the Clackamas County Mall, is that going to make sense to go in
Medium to large size company needs somebody to help them with that.
Exactly.
Can you go to the extent of the education on that part of leasing or purchasing commercial real estate, like the research?
Yeah. What is the program? How many years is the program?
Well, I mean, it's as little as a year. It's as long as you need it to take.
Okay. And to answer Stephen's question, what are some of the classes that match up with that?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, myself, like I'm actually just kind of finishing right now. I still have like my capstone to do this summer, but I'm done with basically all my normal classes. This week, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Beginning of June.
What kind of classes are there?
So some of the classes I've taken are, I guess I'll kind of start from the beginning. I took an urban planning class. It was going over like a lot of zoning for the most part, and kind of how cities are laid out and designed, which Portland is a beautiful, amazing, wonderful city, and it used to be the mecca that people would, come to visit to build a city, like the standard. Not as much today because it's kind of fallen off, but like 10 years ago, like it was people would visit here to build their how should we build a city? So they would come to Portland, like because our city blocks and just like all the green space, all the parks, all the infrastructure, it just all makes sense. You go to say Boston, for example, that city doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just such a big contrast. So like urban planning, we did real estate law, which is huge. Oh yeah. Like massive. That was a big class. Not the most interesting class I've ever taken. To be fair.
Oh, we have to. I mean, you'll have to do it again if you get your license.
I know. Soon, yes. Yeah. I've actually already taken that class before previously. I didn't take the test, but yes.
It's not fun.
Yeah. No. Real estate law. I mean, like market analysis. So we had a project where, say, like theoretically, there's an investor, group in Portland. They want to invest in the Midwest somewhere. So we had a couple markets like Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Madison, Wisconsin, and which of these markets would it be best for these people to invest in based on the demographics and kind of what they're looking for with their investment style. Mm-hmm. So we had to write a paper and do analysis and make graphs and say like, okay, the median income was say $85,000 for this household. Everybody was within a mile distance. This is how many people live here. Yada yada on from there. Or these people, they own pets, or we had just various things. Like there's programs that can do all kinds of crazy things out there. Like these people really like hiking, and they buy a lot of outdoor apparel and things. There's things that tell everybody.
I wish there was a structured way to do research, because a lot of the people that we've worked with who are big investors, they have their own ways of figuring out if this is a good investment or not.
Sure.
Is there a Whole Foods nearby or a Starbucks?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
This is like a whole
like I'm saying, those guys have done their research.
Another level of analysis paralysis that we could get into.
Yeah, I would love to get into how do I do the proper research to make sure this is a good that I'm going to have the right volume of people coming through, if this is a strip mall or if this is like an apartment. Am I going to have enough rentals?
Yeah.
Is the market saturated, et cetera? Because I don't know. I mean, I guess I could try to do research, but then it would just be haphazard.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you're going to stumble through and I think I got some calculations here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can always take some classes.
Yeah.
They would love to have you.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a full degree. They have certifications, and you can just, audit a few classes as well. Like if you're just looking for those kind of things,
No, can I ask
Yeah.
if you were to take this master's in real estate program at PSU, how much would it cost for the whole thing, and then how much is it like a la carte?
Okay, I don't know what it is a la carte because I mean it's just a one lump sum for me. So I mean I think the classes are somewhere around $700 to $800. I think. Like I don't know that for sure, so please don't quote me. For in-state tuition is around $34,000.
Oh, for all of them? Yeah. For all the credits? Yeah. Okay.
Which is, I mean, before I went to this program, like I actually looked at MIT, I looked at Penn State, I looked at Georgetown, I looked at Arizona State, and I looked here. And in my opinion, this was the best program.
There's not a ton of them in the country, is there?
There's very few, actually.
Really?
There's most of the programs that I've, researched were by and large master, like MBAs.
Right.
So, they're MBAs with an emphasis on real estate.
Right.
So you're learning, corporate finance and all the bunch of stock things that I don't care about.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to run a Fortune 500 company. I don't want to be an analyst for those guys. Like I want to do real estate. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
And they got a little section over there for, you got a couple classes in real estate. But not what I'm doing now. So like I'm very happy I chose this because I did go back and forth, for a good few months before I decided.
Right.
But then after like, being on phone calls and seeing the packets and looking over the coursework and just all the things, like kind of, analyzing them myself, from my house in Connecticut, like, well, I got these other places a lot closer than Oregon. Mm-hmm. So like, why not go somewhere like MIT? I don't think I fit in there probably, to be honest with you, but that was the closest one to my house, which was, 3 hours away.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a decent program there. Obviously, it's MIT too, so that's a lot of clout and
Sure.
that you can say. But I talked to the head real estate professor here. She was amazing. Like, she's the best professor I've ever had, hands down, in all my 6.5 years of college at this point. She let me audit a couple of classes, so I could just sit in there, from Zoom, because everything's like hybrid that we do there, for the most part. A couple of things you have to be in person, but for the most, by and large, you don't. Like she let me sit in on 2 classes, so I got to learn some stuff, and it was like super educational. And we had a guest speaker that was awesome. Taught me some different software programs I'd never seen. So it was like really interesting just to see the hands-on experience what I would get if I did come here. So that's why I chose here.
Cool.
And the price point was nice. Like I had a friend, like my friend I went to Montana with. He had an extra room in his house here in Portland. She was like, "Oh, like hey man, you got." Can I live with you? He's like, sure. It's like we'd already been roommates before, a long time ago, 13 years ago. So I mean, it's been a good experience. The roommates are always tough sometimes, but
so good. Are you considered a real estate professional with the rentals and everything? So can you write this off?
No.
No.
I wish. Maybe I need a better CPA. To my knowledge, I can't.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what I need to do for all that.
But a certain number of hours, I think, works per.
Yeah, I don't think I qualify for the hours wise at this moment.
Okay.
Is the problem. But I don't know too much about that, to be honest with you. Sorry.
Okay. I would.
That'd be nice though, because there's a whole ton of write-offs that come along with that.
Yeah,
so.
I think. Well, I know that I qualify as a real estate professional.
Yeah, you can.
So I might be able to write off some of these classes.
Maybe, man. Yeah.
I might pick and choose. We'll see. So that might be a good
educational purposes.
It's a write-off.
No, I mean, we had a market analysis class. I mean, it was amazing, and it would teach you all the stuff that you're looking for. Just like that one class.
I used to work in marketing, so I'm used to analyzing spreadsheets and all this stuff. But there's a million factors you can look at, especially in real estate.
But you got to figure out which ones are the most important to you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so that is the biggest barrier for me to move forward, because otherwise I'll get analysis paralysis. Sure. And it's like, do I need to add this and do I need to look at this? Is this too many factors or you know?
And there's also some software that we use like ArcGIS, which was one of them, which I mean a lot of people haven't heard of because it's more real estate based. But it was amazing just to get the data that we needed, and you can make spreadsheets and you can do it gives you graphs and
ChatGPT.
I mean, that's one way. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we don't do that. We're taught how to use ChatGPT, and we do actually do a lot of AI stuff because I mean the industry is moving towards that.
Definitely headed that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we actually spend multiple class times for various classes doing AI stuff, or this is a better way to prompt it, or be more precise in this aspect.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are teaching us to do that. I'm not saying you need to understand the data that's spitting at you.
Right.
And what it's putting out, you need to be able to understand what it even means.
Yeah.
So you can't turn your brain off. That doesn't work.
No. I know.
I know. Yeah. I mean, people are scared of that, but also it's where we're heading. So I mean, especially in this program, they've spent a lot of time teaching us how to use it and be efficient with it. It's okay, why spend 3 hours doing something that can take 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Totally. If you do just to analyze a spreadsheet, you need to understand the outputs of that spreadsheet or what ChatGPT says.
And double check it.
Oh,
yeah.
Trust me. Yes. There's half time I'm like, where'd you get these numbers? No.
It's easy to get caught by that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying we do papers with it or everything, but to help us, and sure, absolutely. We're encouraged to do so. Then we have to write a prompt of what we put into it to, tell it to do.
Yeah.
It's like in our, papers, when we use it. So, I mean, yeah, but it's people are using it today. It's an important thing just in life in general now, not just real estate. So, there's, we're heading towards, there's probably something that doesn't, I've not used it personally, but to analyze leases. So you get a 150-page lease for a commercial property. That's going to be a whole lot of time and effort when you can throw it into an AI.
Yeah.
Give me bullet points.
Exactly. And it'll spit out the important pieces.
Good at that. I haven't used one. Yeah. I tried to use one once for something similar to that, for reading HOA docs or something, and it was just too much stuff. So I didn't pay for some nice AI to do that. But it seems like a good.
There's certain some of the bigger corporations, they're inventing their own ones.
Right.
CBRE and because there's a lot of proprietary information that they don't want out and given to ChatGPT or any of the other AIs that exist. So
a bunch of
you gotta be careful with those. When working as a professional in these corporations, that they don't want everything shared with them, so you can't just use everything.
I work with a bunch of lenders, and a few of them have their proprietary AIs that will give you feedback on guidelines. Not many of them, but a couple.
The bigger ones are starting, right?
One of them in particular, they will guarantee what the AI says for the guidelines, and so
that's cool.
Which is kind of interesting because none of the others are at that place yet. But it's actually useful then because the answer that you get from it, the underwriter will stand behind it. So.
Nice. No, it's good. If it saves you time, you can be doing more deals, you can do more sales, you can find more clients.
It's more just being able to quickly get an answer.
Efficiency is
that you need for to be confident in your pre-approvals.
Well. Yeah, no, that's good. Some of the other classes, we're taking. We did a couple leadership classes, which are super important just in working in general. In any facet, doesn't matter what industry you're in. Valuation classes, how to value properties. It could be a single family house. It could be all the different approaches that you use. We were kind of touching on this earlier, before we were doing this talk. Cost approach versus sales comparisons, stuff like that. There's just a lot of variety of classes that it's taught so many things. We do finance classes. We have real estate analysis classes.
Nice.
Development classes. So.
Okay, so from basically all of your experience that we've talked about over the last hour, if somebody was looking to get into real estate and asked you for advice, what kind of advice would you tell them about getting into real estate investing?
Ooh.
I feel like you already talked about the duplex model.
I think I still got to hit on the duplex. That's going to be the number one best thing ever.
So, but the follow-up twist to that, if someone is thinking about investing out of state, sight unseen, what would you give them a couple pointers based on your experience?
Sure. Do as much research as you can about a particular area. You want to understand the economy, the demographics, the people that live there, the industries that are there. Mm-hmm. These are things I didn't know to analyze before I started buying, in Toledo, Ohio, that I know now, obviously, after this program, for the most part. Also, you need good people on the ground that you trust. Mm. That's really hard to find. Sometimes I've had really bad property managers in the past.
And so, where do you find a good property manager? How do you... Do you just call them on the yellow pages?
That's one way. Yeah. Usually the internet these days.
You're right.
I think you're showing your age.
By yellow pages,
no, I right? Of course. Just joking.
Or you didn't go through a friend. You went through.
I had no friends there.
You just went through the internet.
I initially actually started looking in Cleveland, Ohio, which led to me to Akron, Ohio, which is about 30, 45 minutes south. I was looking in those kind of areas just because I thought Ohio would be good. I guess not knowing much, very basic, surface level analysis because I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. I found an agent on Bigger Pockets, actually. You can't always trust that because they have, their own, people advertising stuff for themselves. And I would, check their posts and stuff of what they were saying and the things, made sure they're educated.
This
responses.
is actually interesting because they advertise on Bigger Pockets.
Featured agent on Bigger
Awesome.
Pockets, yeah.
So. That's how I found my agent, actually. So I found one. She said these things and then, had a great conversation. everything she said was like, in-house property manager, in-house, consultation, in-house, like I'm the agent, like I do everything. I'm like, awesome. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Like one-stop shop. Sounds fantastic. And then I'd like ask her a question about a house. Like wouldn't get a response. Or I'd ask her 4 questions. I would get 1 answered. And that happened like over a weeks and weeks period of time. I'm like, or you're not responding and you're not answering my questions. You're not trying to help me really.
They're just paying to be a featured agent.
I guess, yeah. But like what she told me on the phone was like everything I wanted to hear. Like she checked all the bullet points.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had a list of things I wanted. Okay, investor. Like that's a number one thing for any agent will ever deal with in my future is they have to be an agent. I made a mistake with that in the past. My first agent I was using out of Salem. She was a great agent, but she didn't understand what I was looking for. She's like, "Oh, this house smells." I'm like, "It smells like money to me. Like, I can fix that."
Yeah.
Oh, those drapes, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, those countertops are like that can be replaced. Like that's all easy surface level stuff.
Yeah.
So investor first and foremost, understand and speak the same language as myself.
Totally.
Just they know the area. Not that they grew up there necessarily, but they've lived there. Like they spent some time there, and they know the good areas and the bad areas, and where to kind of direct you. Like, also like your criteria is similar to their criteria. Yeah. It's like if I do ultra high end, $1 million mansions. Like, well, that's not the kind of money I have these days.
Yep.
So that's not what I'm investing in. It's like, B, C level, stuff like that's your kind of ballpark. That's my ballpark. So like that needs to match up. Also just like you can you don't have to be friends with them, but like you can have a beer with them.
Yeah.
Like, you can get some food and have a nice conversation.
Right.
Like be a little bit deeper than just the agent. Like that's important to me personally. I like to build relationships, not just have transactions. Because like I want to not do one with you. I want to do 20, 30, 40 with you. Like I want to build this over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Totally. Like not just the next 2 years. I'm just talking for myself here. So these are just things that I care about. So I was actually, I didn't communicate with this lady. Eventually I stopped talking to her because she wouldn't get back to me and answer my questions. So then I, went to Toledo, on Bigger Pockets, also found my agent I was working with. He spoke my level. He, understood everything. He grew up in Toledo. He owned a bunch of investments, like 30 units or something, across Florida, like Arkansas, Ohio, various places around there. Multiple markets. So he understood investing, way more than I did personally. Like was jealous and wanted to be where he was at that point.
There you go.
But he spoke my language. Like it was just a great conversation. He kind of told me, and he'd take me through. Like he would video things for me, walking through houses because I was living here. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't living there. I'd never been there before I bought my fourplex.
Right.
So I just more trusted him. He's like, "Oh, I'm working for a property manager, so I already got a property manager. They do the construction. They do everything else in house." So he led me towards all the other people that I needed. He like, "Oh, I know some brokers." So he put me in contact with brokers. It's like David Green touched on here, core 4. So you got to have your agent, you got to have your broker, you got to have your construction. Yep. Like that. Like you need all these people to get the job done. Totally. And you need your contractor. Like you can't not do it with. If you're missing 2 of those, like you can't do a deal. It doesn't work because most likely you're gonna need to repair something. You got to most likely get a loan. Not everybody, but like you need it. And then, but if you find one really good person, they can usually lead you to someone else, like you guys and
totally.
So. Yeah, that's why I eventually, went there, and that's what helped me, I guess. Just finding one person that led me to everybody else. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's super helpful for as we start. I know he has property out of state, and I technically do is Washington.
Technically,
Washington,
sort of. a little bit.
Yeah, it's
far enough away, right?
State, yeah. If someone was looking to get a hold of you to maybe pick your brain on stuff, what's the best way to find you?
I guess my email, just lovelandseth@gmail.com. Instagram, Seth.Loveland. It's easy one there. Shoot me a DM. I'm going to give you my phone number if you want. I'm open, and I love talking real estate. I could do that 12 hours a day personally.
If someone's thinking about doing the PSU program.
I'm a huge fan of it. I praise it to everyone I've met, and just moving, especially from the residential to commercial, like there was such a learning gap for me that so many things I was missing in between. And I didn't have a mentor, this whole journey that I've, been on. So I didn't have anybody to teach me the fundamentals, which I think is what I was lacking because I wouldn't have bought some of the stuff that I own now if I would have known the things I know today, just from, the basic analysis. Yeah. So and just, being more comfortable, wanting to move in the commercial space. And that's where I want to grow my portfolio and, go in the future and also, my career and stuff. So, yeah, that's been great.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Seth. Right. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you again, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.